All right, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. I hope you guys are having a good one out there. And in the video today, we're going to be talking about the only two bladed jigs that I think you need to have in order to be successful out there on the water. Now, a bladed jig has become an absolute staple in pretty much every bass fisherman's arsenal, and for good reason. It catches them from 12 inchers to 12 pounders, everywhere in between. It's just a really catching bait. The other reason that this is so unique is that there isn't a time of year where these don't work. Up here in the north, for example, I'm going to be fishing a bladed jig from ice out until ice on. You never truly know when this bite is going to be at its peak throughout the course of the year. It really is going to be weather dependent. And when fronts move through, man, this is a great bait to pick up and start throwing around. So it's very unique in that sense that you can fish this bait all year long and have success. Now, jumping into the first one here, it's the one that probably gets the most media publicity out there, and it's the Z-Man Evergreen Jackhammer. And I say it gets a lot of publicity, but it's for a good reason that it gets a lot of publicity. This bait is absolutely fantastic. It's got very premium components, super sticky sharp hook, really awesome double barb keeper there, really unique head design that makes this bait hunt really well when you stop it. One of my favorite retrieves with this bait is just reeling it and stopping it and reeling it and stopping it. As soon as you stop it, for whatever reason, this head design gives that bait an extremely erratic motion. Lastly, that blade comes in contact with the head, so it makes a very, very interesting sound as it comes through the water. But all around, you really can't beat it. And I was one of those guys who fought the price of this bait forever. I wouldn't buy it because I thought they were overpriced. But after buying some and spending a lot of time fishing this the past few years, man, was I missing out. And I highly recommend that if you're one of those guys that's fighting the price tag, just cave and pick you up a few of them, and you're going to see that these baits are absolutely worth it. So jumping over to the second one here, this is probably going to surprise some people only because it's not really talked about that much anymore, and it is the original Z-Man chatterbait. And yes, it's the one with the big, giant, ugly, nasty hook in there, but it works, man. You can't hate on it too much. And the only reason that I'm putting this bait in this video is because it is the only bladed jig that I have ever seen go toe-to-toe with a jackhammer. And it really happened in the beginning of this past season. I was fishing a Wednesday nighter with my buddy John Ott, and he was throwing the original chatterbait, and I was throwing a jackhammer. He was in the back of the boat, and he outfished me 4-1. I mean, it was absolutely insane how many fish he was catching on this bladed jig. And I know what you're thinking. You're probably like, oh, he's probably fishing it different. But we were both throwing the exact same reel gear ratio, as well as doing the exact same retrieve. And he was smashing them on them, and I was not. So there's definitely a time and a place where this bait is just a better choice over a jackhammer, and I can't tell you why. But after that day, something that I really did do with the original was play around with it in different scenarios. And where I found this bait to be extremely effective is in really muddy water. Like anything less than a foot of visibility, that's when I'm going to pick this guy up. Anything more than a foot of visibility, I'm going to go with this one. And the reason that I picked this guy over the jackhammer is because the blade has a much wider, slower motion that creates a lot more drag in the water, and it slows this bait down. So you're able to bring that bait past fish a lot slower without losing any action of the bait. And I think because it moves slower, it just gives those fish a lot more time to come out and find and eat this bait. So with that said, I'm going to jump into a few trailers that I throw on here, just kind of depending on water clarity. I really only throw 1 or 2 trailers on this guy right here. The first one being a boot tail if the water's on a little bit cleaner side when it's dirty. If that makes any sense, when it's like a foot of visibility, that's when I'll throw like a boot tail. But if I'm fishing mud, this is the one that I'm going to throw. This is the Excite Baits Raptor Tail Junior, and it's awesome, man. This bait has a ton of kicking motion with those flappers. All I do is I come in and I bite about a 1/4 inch off the top of it, and I rig it horizontally. I don't rig it vertically because I want this bait to catch as much water as possible to slow it down even more. So with that bait on there, that's kind of what you're looking at. Just your standard craw imitating style bait on the back of the bladed jig, but because it grabs so much water, allows that bait to ride higher in the water column, which, if you guys know, you're going to be fishing shallower and muddier water. It's just the way it is, and because of that drag, that just helps the bait keep up in the water more. So that's really it for muddy water. As far as the colors go, black and blue or straight white, that's really all that I'm going to throw. I don't get too crazy on my colors when that water is really, really dirty. So jumping over to the jackhammer. From that 1 foot to gin clear water, that's when I'm going to throw a jackhammer, because you can move this bait extremely fast. It's got a very hard, tight vibration. However, because that vibration is so tight, you can get this water or this bait to come through the water very, very quickly because it doesn't throw off a whole lot of resistance. Now, when the water is anywhere from about 1 foot of visibility to 2.5, 3 foot of visibility, that's when I'm going to throw a boot tail style swim bait. This is my favorite swim jig, bladed jig, spinner bait, whatever you can throw a swim bait on as a trailer, or just even a single swim bait itself. This is my favorite, and it's the Shad Nasty by Excite Baits. Just an extremely pliable swim bait, really soft. You guys can see how much action that has, but it's also durable because they don't incorporate salt into their plastic. So really basic setup. You just thread it up on there. Nothing really too out of the ordinary there. But this is what I like because it slows the bait down enough to where I'm not burning it, but I can still move this bait really quickly without it blowing out to one side or the other. And that's the trailer that I use a majority of the time. Now, when I want to throw this bait in really clean water, that's when I'm going to go to something like this, which is a Z-Man Razor Shads. Yamamoto makes the Seiko. Z-Man makes the Razor Shads. Hog Farmer makes one really similar to this that everybody raves about. However, most of the time I'm throwing a boot tail anyway, but I'll throw this guy in really gin clear water because I can move that bait extremely fast, as well as maybe throw it in some stained water if I'm around really pressured fish, just because it is extremely subtle. So that's really it. I keep my bladed jigs and my trailers very, very simple. I don't do a whole lot with them. I hope you guys like this video. Go down, drop a like on the video, comment, subscribe, tell me what you want to see, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Thanks for watching.